You've been lied to on what shadow work really is and how to actually get results from it. I will give you 4 good methods in this video on how to actually get results, and the last one's controversial. So, a lot of New Age spirituality has been dismissed in a lot of the public mind because of a psyop. Now, I will touch farther into this in the fourth point with it being controversial, but what you need to understand is a lot of the times spirituality is dismissed because of what it can truly accomplish if you actually dive into some of these things. Now, you don't have to be spiritual. I once identified as spiritual, but I try now to root everything with an element of science and a little bit of the mystical alongside with New Age spirituality. And I am just trying to bring this to a palatable setting so you can fully absorb it from a different perspective and get results from it. So I say we jump straight in with an example and the first method. First is going to be unconscious meditation. What the unconscious is what your kind of shadow is. It is the parts of you that you carry around every day and you don't know are there at all because they're outside of your conscious perception. But for an example, from my experience, when first time I did a unconscious meditation, once we got into the full deep hypnosis, that's how you get into your unconscious, is you get hypnotized, and he asks, what would you like to reprogram in your mind? What would you like to release? I went into this not knowing, but the moment he said those words, the words, "You are enough and will always be enough," popped into my head. So I said them aloud and meant it when I said it, and I started profusely crying. And it felt like a weight had been lifted off my chest, and I was teleported back to when I was 12 years old and my first girlfriend told me that I wasn't enough and I would never be enough when we broke up. And I carried that for over a decade. And it's absolutely insane to me that you can have no idea that you carry around this thing, part of your self-image, outside of your conscious perception, because emotions are stored in your body if you do not fully process, validate them, and release them. And that's all about getting into the shadow, is the parts that are not addressed and fully bringing them in, integrating them, and allowing them to be part of the full spectrum. Now, with that being said, you really have to be willing to attack everything. Like, with the next couple of methods, like, these are not easy things, but these will get you real results and will allow you to live a fuller, happier experience. I'm not here to hold your hand through this. I'm here to help you live a better life, a more fuller experience. So with that being said, let's transition into the second one, which is journaling. And there's the shadow work books with prompts and everything, but you do not need those necessarily. They can help, but that's where it gets lost in woo-woo, is just marketing it. So where you feel like you're doing something, if you aren't actually getting down and dirty with it, then you just asking questions and really thinking about it isn't going to do much. My advice in journaling is just get a journal, and I'll build on this with the next point, but genuinely just start writing about your day. You don't realize how you venting to someone about your day is the same as journaling, but you don't have to have someone to vent to. You can just sit down and start writing about your day. Any frustrations or anything you just want to get out, journal it. And then you'll start to find that the more you journal, the easier it is to just plop everything that you're holding onto just onto the paper, and then you walk away feeling lighter and better. So if you can build with an unconscious meditation, and a practice of journaling once or twice a week at minimum. I mean, I don't do that. I do it like once every 3 weeks at this point in my life. But if I'm deep in the shadow work and I'm trying to actually get results from it, I would be journaling probably 2 to 3 times a week to start. Because you don't want to burn yourself out. But if you can get used to offloading whatever you're holding on to and being able to see those things before you're able to process them in the moment, being able to offload them with a method is extremely helpful. And with the third point, it's going to be following the thread. And what I mean by this is that your pain points, your trigger points, anything that you react in a way that you don't like or you don't know why you react that way, physically ask, why did I react that way? What is the source of this? Where is this coming from? And when you do that, your unconscious mind starts combing through the memories, and it may be an hour, it may be a day, it may be a week, it may be a month. But your unconscious mind is going to take that thread and follow it wherever it can. And when you get there, you are going to have like this pop-up like image almost in your mind of like where this originates from. And in that moment when you find that, just see what happened, what was not processed, or what you needed in that moment that you didn't get. And just try to give your younger self that. Because your child you is existing within you as the same as your present you is existing in you. So if you can then give yourself that in that moment, gone. And I'm being completely honest with that, because it will just heal it at the source, and then that trigger point is gone. And with that, and if you don't want to ask it aloud, you can go back to the journaling point, and you can ask in your journal, where is this coming from, and try to just blabber for a little bit and see if it starts to come out. And maybe it doesn't come out today. Maybe in a day or two when you start your next journal, it starts to come out. But there's multiple methods to follow the thread, and it is actually extremely helpful to be able to eliminate these things at the source. Now the last one is going to be very controversial, and brace for when I say this, because this is not meant to trigger anyone. This is from my experience, and there is truth to the things that I say. It is not the truth, but there is truth to everything that I say, because it is validated by my experience. Now, with that being said, how I talked about things are a certain psyops. In the first point, this is a big psyop to get you to be pushed away from this thing so that you aren't able to fully heal, because this system that we live under thrives off of unhealed trauma, because then they can loop you on this unhealed trauma at constant trigger points and feed off of that emotion and that immaturity in a way. And that is why we see our society is the way that it is, because we are not taught to fully be able to heal and process emotions and just actually live a true human experience. We're told to just live this robotic life and be a cog in the machine. But with that being said, the last one is psilocybin mushrooms. Now, I do not legally advise anyone to take these things. These are just speaking from my experience. Psilocybin mushrooms have been the single greatest thing I have ever done. They have completely helped me heal from the worst of my trauma in the best of ways. On a lot of my experiences, I come away from it feeling like a lighter, more full person. I just feel like I grew every time, because if you go into it in the right setting, around the right people, in a mindset that you are willing to go with the flow and take on anything that comes your way during the experience, then nothing will go wrong. You might have some uncomfortable experiences, but nothing will truly be wrong. If you are being shown something during experience, it is not punishment, it is because you haven't processed something from that and you are still holding it in your body. All the mushrooms are doing is showing you where you need to work on stuff. And you can believe that or not believe that, but I have done close to probably 100 mushroom trips, and I was doing them in rapid succession there for a while, like once a week, because every time I did them, I felt like something was shown to me, I would take it on, I would process it, and move on. And I mean, a lot of these things were extremely hard. Like, they were not easy, but it was the most rewarding thing that I've ever done in my life. Like, hands down. I was able to tackle these hard things and taking them on head on and be able to fully process and move through all of these things. Before I even started doing these things, I was in therapy, and the therapist was dead set on medicating me when I did not want to be medicated. I just wanted to be able to talk to someone and just heal in that way. And all she did was try to shove medication down my throat. And it felt like all we were doing was talking and agitating points, and then just walking away, and never really getting to the true source of anything. So when I started doing these, I told her about them, and she told me I was insane and that I should stop doing them immediately. And that's where the PSYOP comes in, is because when you look at the war on drugs, a lot of these things were lies. And I do plan to do a video series, like a video essay on the war on drugs, because I'm very passionate about this topic. But a lot of these people, public mind is just that though they're terrifying and you're stupid to do them. But no one that has actually done them thinks that. Everyone that hasn't done them is the one that thinks that. And I truly wouldn't make a video if I didn't stand behind all the points that I'm making with 100% certainty, because I'm making them from my experience and trying to help you on my same path, because I've been relentlessly at this for almost 5 years. I have been willing to tackle anything in my shadow, in my unconscious, to grow and be a better person. Because that's why I started becoming in the bender of the mushrooms, was because I realized every time I did them, I felt like a better person. But not only a better person for me, I was a better person for everyone else around me. And I was willing to look in the mirror and make the changes that I needed to. Like, genuinely, just like Michael Jackson said, if you want to change the world, you have to be the change that you want to see in the world. I did not care that no one else wants to be able, like, shadow work is hard, and doing all of the things that I talk about are not easy, and most people will not do them. But if you are willing to do them, you are a select few that will change the world, because you are willing to make that change. And every single one of my videos that I've been making has been a building process to being your most evolved, best version of yourself. From being able to remove your ego, find the true you, walk as that you, and now I'm showing you how to shovel out the demons in your closet to be able to fully walk as that fully realized version of yourself, and then walk as the most healed version of yourself. So you can be fully, authentically, happily you. That's all I'm trying to accomplish by making these videos, is that I want to share how I've done it, how I've gotten here. And you can tweak any of these methods any way to fit your liking. But this is what's worked for me. And I've never been happier in my entire life. I've never been more fulfilled in my life, because I walk as the authentic version of myself. And I couldn't imagine, holding my tongue like I used to. I just showed up as how I thought other people wanted me to be. And that's built over time. But once you realize what is and isn't you, it's hard to go back. And once you fully realize that it's hard to go back from these things, like, the only way you can go is forward. You can just keep pushing that way. And it feels, at times, it's really hard, and it feels like you're never going to reach the end. But that's not the point. The point is to get it to where your everyday life is better and better and better. I'm not going to diss therapy in any way, shape, or form, because I did try it and it wasn't for me. Sometimes it works for people, but from my own experience, all that was happening is they were just agitating it at the point of the source, and then not healing it at the source, and then slapping medication on top of it. Like, just supplementing it with happy chemicals and not, like, putting a Band-Aid on it and not getting down to the real root cause of something. It doesn't do much for you besides making you dependent on something. And I am trying to be an advocate against most of those things, because if we just follow the thread to the source and actually heal things at the source, whether it be like physically or mentally, we're going to be a lot better off than having dependency on these things. And that's the thing, is that a lot of the reasons why things are the way that they are is because you would be too powerful as a society, or as a person and as a society, if we were the fully healed version of ourselves, because then we wouldn't be able to be manipulated constantly by the ebbs and flows of whatever's going on in the news or in the world. Like, if you are a fully healed, fully realized person and you walk as that version of yourself, you can't be manipulated from the outside to get into these quick cash schemes because I'm suffering, or to get into these, like, all political debates at all times. If you are a fully healed, fully realized person, then you remove yourself from these topics, and that they hate that because they can't control you. And when they can't control you, you become unstoppable in terms of, in every way that you can look at it. Because if you are fully in control of your own mind and your own emotions, and no one has a grasp over that, then you can fully build on that in every way in your life. And you can fully fight the oppressing system in a lot of ways. And that's exactly what they don't want, is that they want you to stay in your loops of trauma and not healing. And they just want to loop you on those emotions constantly, and then slap Band-Aids on top of them, so we're sick, dependent, and in a trauma loop constantly. And that's why a lot of these things that actually do help are illegal or hidden or untaught, or it's a psyop. Genuinely, all of these things are the way that they are because of an intent to keep you in this loop. Now that might be really controversial, but I don't care, because that's the truth that I live in and the truth that I see in this world. And if you haven't seen it, you just haven't awoken to the level that I am. But thank you so much for listening. I hope this helped in any way, shape, or form. I'm so happy to make this video, and I don't know where I'm going to go next, but I'm going to try to build on these topics and continuously giving you more help on what actually can change your life. So thank you so much for listening, and I love you.